Hi, my name's Elliot and welcome to METANEWS, a weekly roundup of 3D printing, metaverse and artificial intelligence news. On Mondays will be 3D printing, on Wednesdays will be metaverse, and then on Fridays will be artificial intelligence. So the way that this works is I've got 10 news articles here that I've pulled from a bunch of websites. These are like the most interesting ones that I've found, and I'm just going to go through these basically, read the headlines, read a bit of the key information, show some of the photos and the videos, and yeah, let's get started. So starting off with an article from 3dprint.com, we've got Icon rolls out suite of construction 3D printing products at South by Southwest. So there's four main products that they've unveiled here. So it says the company unveiled a new robotic construction system for multi-story structures called Phoenix, which you can see a video of here on their YouTube channel. A digital catalogue of ready-to-print homes called Codex. Let's try this one here. Oh, there we go. Oh, sick. I click floor plan and then it takes the roof off. Can I have a look inside? Can I zoom in? No, I can't zoom in. I'll leave links in the description to all of these websites so you can have a play with this. A new printable concrete formula, pitched as sustainable Carbon X, and then an AI-backed software platform for designing and building virtual homes called Vitruvius. And so if you follow the link to Vitruvius, it's got this beta here. It's almost like a text to 3D generator, but for 3D printed homes basically. So I'm just going to follow the prompts that it's got already on here. So I'm going to choose Enchanted Fairy Tale Castle. How many bedrooms and bathrooms are you envisioning for your dream home? I'm just going to go 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. Perfect. Blah blah blah. Oh. Generating designs, there we go. Right now it's just images and floor plans, but they plan to expand it to full 3D model generation, which is crazy. I guess it's kind of made each individual room here. I see what it's doing. It's kind of using like Midjourney where it generates the images and then it's kind of putting them all together as a floor plan. Be interesting to see when they have the 3D how well it kind of ties it all together into like one unifying model. Cool. So this one's from 3dprinting.com. It says, world's first successful 3D printed windpipe transplant. It says, while the PCL component has a lifespan of 5 years, researchers are optimistic that during this period the artificial organ will stimulate the regeneration of the patient's trachea. So it's not permanent, it's just a temporary transplant. Involved designing the windpipe based on the patient's CT and MRI data, took less than 2 weeks to print and was transplanted in a half-day surgery. That's crazy. There you go, 3D printed windpipe transplant. Another one from 3dprinting.com, we've got Modic introduces super tall Everest 3D printer, boasting the capability to print objects up to 2 meters tall in a single print, with dimensions of 1000 times 1000 times 2000 millimeters. So full statues of people basically. Yeah, there you go, you can see an image of it. The Everest achieves remarkable print speeds of over 500 grams per hour. It looked like this Coke bottle here was like the closest to his actual height. So let's say 8.2 kilograms in 17.5 hours. So that's probably about 120, 150 pound of material there. For 17.5 hours to do a full-size statue print is insane. I would love to have a printer this big. So there you go, you got 2 meter tall printing on the Modic Everest. So this next one's from TCT Magazine. It says, Stratasys 3D printed samples to be tested on Moon's surface. There's 2 or 3 tests that they're running here. There's a test shielding against radiation using a tungsten PEC-based filament. There's also some ESD filament that they're trying out as well to test like electrostatic discharge shielding. I think it also talks about a general understanding of how 3D printed materials from this machine just withstand conditions in space basically. Yeah, cool. This one is from all3dp.com. Bamboo Lab launches Maker Lab experiments with AI-powered 3D scanning. So if you go onto the Maker Lab website here, they've had some different applications that they've been putting out recently. So you got the Make My Sign, the Make My Vase, and then the Pixel Puzzle Maker. But these new ones here, these experiments, you've got the AI scanner and the 3D to relief sculpture. If you click on the AI scanner one, you see you've got this guy that's just like walking around the model with his phone. It's just photogrammetry, but with AI that probably stitches the photos together. I haven't tried this myself yet, but I've seen somebody in one of the Facebook pages, they 3D printed a Benchy, then 3D scanned the Benchy, and then 3D printed that. It didn't look amazing, there was obviously some issues with it, but this is just like the first kind of beta test version of all this kind of stuff, so it's only going to get better from here. And yeah, I'm looking forward to trying this out. Next one is from All3DP again. We've got Anycubic users receive hacked machine G-code file revealing security vulnerability. So basically, it looks like a bunch of Anycubic printers got hacked, and there was this code that got uploaded to them. It's got a little picture of a snake here in the middle. It says, your machine has a critical vulnerability, posing a significant threat to your security. Immediate action is strongly advised to prevent potential exploration. This is just a harmless message. You have not been harmed in any way. There's a bunch of stuff down here. It says, bruh, y'all think this is fake. Too funny. You should blame Anycubic for their MQTT server, which allows any valid credential to connect and control your printer via the MQTT API. Talking about how there's security vulnerabilities and they need to do better to patch all this stuff up. So it's almost like ethical hacking, where they're not trying to like extort people out of money or anything. They're just pointing out security vulnerabilities and helping Anycubic to patch those up. They're not helping them to solve them. They're just showing them that they've got vulnerabilities. And especially after all the stuff that happened with Bamboo Lab recently with their security patches and all that stuff. I'm not sure what's happened with this since, because this was like a week ago I think. But yeah, it's very interesting. This next one's from 3D Natives. We've got world's first 3D printed mosque completed in Saudi Arabia. Ramadan, one of the most well-known and important Muslim holidays, started this week, and what better way to celebrate it than with 3D printing. It says here that work began on a 3D printed mosque last year, but it's not the same one. There must be a couple that they're building in Saudi Arabia at the moment. There's another image, you can see of it there in the middle. Got a quote here saying, as a Saudi businesswoman, I wanted to contribute to introducing this modern technology to the kingdom, positioning it among the first countries to utilise it. This marks a significant milestone in the fields of technology and contemporary construction, signalling a move towards architectural innovation and global sustainable building practices. Yeah, so more and more buildings are going to be constructed using 3D printing, so it's a trend that's only going to keep rising. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what people can do with this technology as opposed to just kind of brick by brick construction, being able to build things layer by layer and have kind of complex internal channels within the buildings. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see where all this goes. Another article from 3D Natives. We've got Ursa Major's 3D printed Hadley engine takes first flight. This is an engine that was developed in the US. It's a company called Ursa Major. It was founded in 2015 by former SpaceX and Blue Origin propulsion engineer Joe Lorienti. I think I pronounced that right. The Hadley engine's first flight was powering the TA-1 testbed during a test over the Pacific Ocean. Though Stratolaunch had stayed quiet on many of the details of the test out of respect to its customers, the company did announce that the test reached hypersonic speeds approaching Mach 5. This is the limit wherein speed becomes hypersonic, or 5 times the speed of sound. In terms of the 3D printing itself, Ursa Major does not go into much detail in the press release. However, from previous announcements we know that the Hadley engine was likely made using copper and metal 3D printing, potentially on a laser powder bed solution, as they have worked with EOS in the past. Yeah, so we're starting to see 3D printed rocket engines and 3D printed jet engines a lot more now that metal 3D printing is a lot more reliable in terms of industrial use. URREP Project pushing for micron accuracy in 3D printing. The RepRap community is embarking on a new venture, the URREP Project, aiming for sub-micron precision in 3D printing, initially focusing on millimeter scale resolution. The demand for finer accuracy has surged, especially in fields like microelectronics and biological applications. It says it was inspired by the Open Flexure project, which when you search for it, it comes up with this here. So you've got the Open Flexure project aims to make high precision mechanical positioning available to anyone with a 3D printer. There's a video here. Obviously they've got this 3D printed microscope here. But yeah, I'll leave the link to that website, you can go and have a look at that video as well. With expectations set high, the first prototype targets a positioning accuracy of under 3 micrometers over a 10mm area, enabling micrometer scale probe production using ink pens or photosensitive resins. That is insane. Nobody in the hobbyist sector needs micrometer scale 3D printing right now, but it's cool to see that the barrier to entry in terms of the cost and the production of these types of machines has gone down a lot, because I imagine something like this would have cost hundreds of thousands just a few years ago. So yeah, super cool. This last one here is a bit weird. So terrifying video shows Myanmar's 3D drone fleet built using a 3D printer in the jungle. There's not too much information on here. We've just got a link to a video that was on someone's Twitter feed or X feed. So I'll play this video here. So it doesn't actually show any of the 3D printing, it just shows these drones taken off. And it claims that they were 3D printed in the jungles. Pretty terrifying. Yeah. So that was the first episode of METANEWS. Join me on Wednesday where I'll be doing the same for the Metaverse. Thank you for watching.